What's up, guys? It's Will from the Already Duelist bringing you another Monday matchups. And for this Monday, we are having the matchup of the Magicians, one being Dark Magician and two being Alistair the Invoker. So essentially, in this Monday matchup, we're pinning up these two decks. This is the Dark Magician deck that will be used in the duel. This is my personal build that I've been playing around with at the time. Um, I had a build that was a little bit more focused on getting out the spellcasters and getting out Secret Village, but unfortunately, Secret Village, although is a great card, is not necessarily good against the best deck at the moment, which is Zodiacs. So I've been trying out a couple more things, added in a little bit more strikes and some full force virus, basically to maybe take out those decks, but at the time it still kind of operates the same way. For one, you're going to be able to banish cards with Dark Magical Circle in combination with your Eternal Soul and Magician's Navigation. In addition to that, you can play Secret Village of the Spellcasters to lock your opponent out of spells potentially if they do not have spellcasters. And finally, you have Shadow Spread Virus, or Full Force Virus, sorry, to take care of any cards that your opponent might control or in their hand, and also get knowledge of their hand. So that's basically how Dark Magician operates, and it is basically going to be pinned against. In contrast, the Invoked. So Invoked basically incorporated with the artifacts and the Windwitches. For one, it focuses on getting the Windwitch engine going on first. So basically, Ice Spell special summons itself and basically makes a first turn Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon that cannot be destroyed by card effects. Then combos very nicely to summon Alistair. Alistair is able to summon the Invoked monsters by banishing cards from either player's graveyard. And then on top of that, you have Sanctums to disrupt your opponent's plays, summon Scythes, and summon Morale Tax to basically screw up everything. And he's also added a very interesting tech of Mass Change too, which makes a lot of sense in the deck, primarily because you're banishing the stuff from the graveyard as cost anyway for Invocation, so why not plug in a Dark Claw to floodgate your opponent even more. Very interesting deck, very interesting matchups. So without further ado, I'm going to go get into the games, and a lot of you requested that I do commentary during the games, so I am going to be doing commentary during these duels. Okay, so in game one, my hand is a little bit questionable, but luckily I ripped the Duality, but then also I get the Rod off of Duality, which is really good. So I get the Rod, I search the Circle because I already had the other two combo pieces I need. Happen to get that, and get the Eternal Soul, and Secret Village. Unfortunately, Secret Village is not that great against this deck because they also run a lot of spellcasters, but against a lot of other decks, it would be very good. So he goes for the Windwitch combo. He summons a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon that cannot be destroyed by card effects, but it's really not a problem for Dark Magician because Dark Magician can banish basically any monster. So he's unable to use the spell cards because he does not control a spellcaster at this point. I do add navigation, but then I realize that I can just pretty much go. He tries to activate Sanctum to maybe summon Morale Attack to pop my Eternal Soul, because that would destroy all my monsters, but thankfully I have navigation to negate. And then I basically attack for almost game, but then I know that I pretty much acknowledge I can get him under 500, so I summon the Flare Metal Dragon. He top decks the Maxi at this point and realizes that it's pretty much over, and so he pretty much attacks into Dark Magician. So game one, taken by Dark Magician. I opened pretty ideal in that duel, and as you can see, the results were pretty good. Okay, so in game two, he elects to go first, and he opens pretty good. No Windwitches, but he is able to get off a better, well, not necessarily a better play, but a good play at that. So he basically activates the Mass Change 2 to summon the Dark Claw. He gets both cards in the graveyard, which we can then use Invocation, and he's got a first turn Macabre and Dark Claw. Dark Claw can already basically banish any cards in the graveyard, and Macabre can currently negate any spell, trap, or monster effect he so chooses. So I kind of misplay here. I'm thinking that I can attack over the Dark Claw. I did not know that you could actually use Alistair on any fusion monster. I thought it had to be on Invoked only. So unfortunately I lose that. I take a neg right there. But likelihood of me coming back from this one is very slim. Like I said, Dark Magician sometimes has a difficult time going second. I do top deck the navigation, so maybe I should have saved the strike for the Macabre here. But he basically goes for that, he goes for that, he goes for Terraforming, gets another Alistair. In battle phase, I try to activate navigation, he negates it and banishes it, and so basically that is game essentially at that point. So Invoked easily takes game two. Dark Claw plus Macabre can be pretty good, and he's also told me that he's made Crystal Wing, Macabre, and Dark Claw on his first turn in a couple of decks, and he'll be having a deck profile and video of that new interesting tech that he put in this deck. So They easily take game 2, and finally, but we always like that because we like to go to game 3, so we finally go to game 3 of Dark Magician versus Invoked. Alright, so finally we get into an exciting game 3. I get to go first, thankfully, so I do search the terraforming. I activate the rod to search the circle. I do like the cards that I draw for circles, so I do activate the Wonder Wand to draw those 2 cards, followed by Succession, or Inheritance, to basically search and basically Dark Magic card. So at that point I summon the Naruto, I set the navigation with Secret Village, and I pass. He has to summon a spellcaster to be able to use his spell cards. He summons the Glass Spell. I don't want to... Originally, I like to banish the spellcasters as soon as they summon one because they can't use spell cards, but I do see him search the Ice Spell, so I didn't want to do it. He could have activated the Invocation, but I would have negated with Naruto, so I guess he was just trying to wait till next turn. So at that point, I pretty much am getting more engine cards going. Some of the even Illusion Magician activate. In fact, some of the Dark Magician from the deck. At that point, it's game at that point, because Dark Magician is able to banish a monster with even, and Dark Magician easily takes game 3. So, that was the Monday matchup. We found that the Dark Magician is the master of magicians when it comes to Invoked versus Dark Magician. Really waiting for Apprentice Illusion Magician Girl to come to TCG. That will definitely immensely help Dark Magician out. But until then, we'll just have to see what Dark Magician could be. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the duels, hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. Feel free to like and subscribe and provide comments on what you'd like to see next week. We plan on doing this every Monday as long as we can, like we said. Sometimes we can't necessarily always get around to it, but we like to. So feel free to leave in the comments which matchup you'd like to see next. It don't necessarily have to be decks that we already have deck profiles of, but it is usually more convenient because we're able to already know how to play the decks. But yeah. Like I said, feel free to like, subscribe, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the duels, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.